Everybody, welcome back. Today's review comes from the house of Bogue Profumo, perfumer Antonio Gardoni. Released 2017. This is MEM. MEM. I don't know if you saw that on the bottle. I'm going to get straight into this analysis review because I have a little bit to say about this perfume. I've been wearing it all day. It's been on my arm all day. I've just sprayed some fresh MEM on. This is a complex perfume. You will read about this perfume being, pretty much all about lavender, and lavender is definitely the bedrock on which this perfume is built. When you smell the opening, it smells like, the best way I can describe it is an unfiltered lavender. There is this kind of dirtiness about it, like it's just been ripped out of the dirt and saturated in citrus. Now, the thing about this perfume is when I was testing it today, trying to take notes, I've taken like 2 pages of notes, and I feel like I am constantly trying to catch up with what is happening on my skin with this fragrance. It begins to evolve almost immediately. So from that dirty, citrusy lavender, it all of a sudden becomes a fluffy lavender, and then it switches into this really juicy, almost lavender cordial accord, this phase here. And it's the phase that I often associate with this fragrance. So when I'm wearing this fragrance, that's the bit that I always notice without doing some close analysis and trying to figure out what I'm smelling here. From that point on, it moves into this beautiful floral phase. Now, I want to say, I don't want to give the impression that there is something classically perfumey going on here with these florals. They're indistinct to me in terms of what they are. They feel like white florals, and then there's hints of yellow florals, like the type you smell, some aspects of ylang ylang or mimosa or something like this. And it continues to develop. So I was putting my nose to my skin every 5 minutes or so, and every time I went back, it was different. And at this point, those florals, they become like this lush bouquet that are just on the edge or maybe just past their best point, and they still smell fantastic, but you can tell that they've aged and they're on the verge of death. But then before you know it, it reverts back to that earlier juicy lavender phase, and goes back to the florals, and it has this beautiful velvety lushness about it, and it continues to oscillate between these 2 stages for a little while. At some point, it arrives. This perfume is untamed. It's wild, and it's a beautiful juxtaposition between this sweet, lovely, innocent perfume ingredient called lavender that we all associate with grandmothers and clean perfumes and calming, sedating, but here it's wild, it's untamed. This perfume is untamed, and I think it's backed up by all the other accords that are going on with it as well. There is. I wouldn't say, I don't pick up a lot of anything I would describe as animalic. In other words, I don't pick up anything dirty, but there is something organic here. And look, I think in that earlier juicy lavender phase, there's definitely some boost from civet there. It has that kind of sharpness, that bite to it, but it's organic and it's living. And this perfume, as I said, is untamed, and you do kind of feel like you, in the early stages, like this thing is going to wear you and you don't know where it's going to take you. Then again, it arrives at a spot where everything sort of calms down and it's mainly all florals. And you think you're smelling lavender, but actually there's not that much lavender there. It's almost like the lavender from earlier on is haunting the rest of the place. But you're left with these really quiet, beautiful bouquet resting on some really soft, they feel like soft, precious woods. I don't know, there's combination of sandalwood there, but it feels like it's not an actual sandalwood accord, but it's got the softness and butteriness of sandalwood. I don't pick up too many resinous aspects at this point. I think if anything, it feels like if there are resins acting here, they're really just there to give it a texture more than something that you are smelling. It gets to this point and all of a sudden this thing seems tame and beautiful, and it's almost like this perfume doesn't want you to take it for granted and get used to it, because towards the end it suddenly I suddenly find this freshness on my skin, and what it is this green hesperidic note coming back, which to me feels obviously like a petitgrain note ingredient there. Again, lavender is back, okay, but this time it's with this green hesperidic note, the petitgrain, and you suddenly have a freshness that you always expect at the beginning of a fragrance rather than like a couple of hours in. So I actually sprayed over my late dry down here. But just before I came in to shoot this video, what was on my arm was basically a fresh green lavender. And this goes on the whole day because you will smell this the whole day, or at least I do. And it's just a real trip. I compare this perfume to, I think earlier when I've mentioned MEM, I compare this perfume to a cubist painting, like a painting of an object that tries to show every facet of the object in a two-dimensional form. Except that doesn't really do justice to this, because this is more like being able to step into that cubist painting, and the painting is actually in 3 dimensions and you're able to walk around and occupy the space in it. This fragrance just moves around you that way. It lets you see every facet of itself, and it hides behind corners and reappears around another corner. And it literally, wearing this feels like being stuck in a fantasy where you have no clue what is going on, what is going to happen from one second to the next. This is a magic. And I want to stress right here at this point, not everyone is going to love this, okay? Even people who like lavender may not like this. But I do know of people who don't like lavender who love this. So I want to stress that now. But this is a fantasy perfume. This is the magic of perfumery right here. Someone has had the imagination and creativity to take an ingredient and build something completely original around it in this perfume. And like I say, this may not be for everyone. It's not going to smell like really anything else out on the market. And you need to go into testing this and wearing this with the mindset that you are basically taking part in an art installation, albeit an olfactive one, and one that maybe only you're going to enjoy. But that's the beauty of MEM from Bogue Profumo. I am pretty much mesmerized by it, and I still don't even think that what I've described here has done it enough justice. But it's probably just the best way I can talk about this fragrance in this abstract way. I've tried to describe what I smell, but really it is one of these perfumes that you kind of sometimes just have to sit back and appreciate it without thinking about it too much. And that's pretty much all I have to say on the matter. I hope you enjoyed that review for MEM from Bogue Profumo, and I will see you guys later. Bye.